Hello, hello.
Hi, guys.
Everyone. Welcome to Trail Talk. Are we ever glad you could join us today? You see our little friend there, the old Jackrabbit. That's our Chisholm Trail Jackrabbit.
It is. He's here visiting and going to be with us for the duration.
You can come see him all day, every day. Well, I mean, when we're open.
When we're here, yeah.
Yeah. But this is the real deal. He's a real jackrabbit.
Certified jackrabbit.
Yeah, taxidermy guy, black-tailed jackrabbit.
There are different breeds.
Yeah, but anyway, we're going to be talking to you about the jackrabbit and the cottontail today. I'm Edie.
I'm Mary.
And we're here in our classroom studio at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center. So on Trail Talk today, Mary, we're not just going to talk about jackrabbits and cottontails. We're also going to throw in some information and kind of slide this one in and surprise y'all about domesticated rabbits as well.
Like your little pets at home.
Exactly. The buns. I thought it was funny that that's one of the things they're known by are buns. Little bun. But we're going to start with this fella right here. The black-tailed jackrabbit. This is the only species that's found in the state of Oklahoma. Like you said a while ago, Mary, there are several other species of these in various places, but this guy's the only one that lives here in the state of Oklahoma. They're pretty good size too.
Yeah, they really are.
Now you can't tell. I think
he's kind of hunched down.
Yeah, he's like ready to jump probably.
He's probably not very old.
Yeah, that's true. But they get about 2 feet in length, 3 to 6 pounds, something like that. And I mean, that's pretty.
It's a pretty good sized rabbit or hare.
Yes. Yeah. That's, well, let's go to our next, yeah, and we'll go on to the next one with the picture on it. This guy's a little healthier.
Yeah.
Here you can see, he's a little meatier than this guy, but you can see how
those feet.
Yeah, the feet, the legs.
Here, that is his foot length.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 inches long.
So,
and like Mary said, they're hares, hares. They're not really rabbits.
Which is
I'm not sure. It is
way.
confusing. I don't know why people call them jackrabbits, but anyway, that's what they're known as. But there are some, I don't know, some things about these that make them distinctive whenever you see them.
Right.
The first thing, of course, are the extra large ears.
Very, very large ears.
Yeah, and their ears and their noses are constantly in motion. They are moving all the time because that's their radar.
Sensory.
Yeah, I guess you'd say. And because of the narrowness of their heads and the way their eyes are, this guy's look a little wider than this one's. Maybe it's because he's been taxidermied.
Right,
his eyes aren't in the true position. But because of how their head is shaped and where their eyes are, they really can see about 360 degrees without a blind spot.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. In fact, that's one of the differences between them and the cottontails. Cottontails' faces are wider, and so they actually have that blind spot like a horse
does. Right there in the center.
Yeah, but that's another thing about them. And they are not only the only species found in Oklahoma, but they're actually the largest species of jackrabbit. The black-tailed. This is also a black-tailed one. They have a little white underneath.
Underside there.
Yeah, there you can see the white part. There it is, underneath his tail. And if they want to try to confuse a predator, they'll expose
that tail
the tail like that. But the black is the top part that you see.
The name from there.
Yeah.
And the tips of their ears are also black.
True. Yeah, the tips of the ears. They are. They don't move around. They're not.
They don't
migrate. They don't hibernate. They pretty much live above ground. They don't live in burrows. They live above ground, maybe in a hollowed out tree trunk or something
like that, or if they're nursing.
They'll make they really, even to have the babies, just make a little, they call it a form, a little place in the ground, and they might put some fur in it. They might not. It seemed to me like the mama jackrabbits weren't that
involved.
I mean,
They're
it's-
pretty much just
yeah,
there and they're done.
yeah, they nurse them for, they're not sure, maybe about 4 weeks.
Mhm.
And then the rabbits leave the nest. And the little babies do, they're off on their own. They stick together for about a week and then they're gone.
Yeah, they're born fully furred, eyes
Yeah.
open, so they're pretty well
Yeah, they're
set to live
active.
by themselves.
Yeah, so they mature very quickly, which I think is interesting. Now they're herbivores, so
Right.
they're going to eat your basic
Seeds and
grasses,
grasses and things like
brush. They do eat forbs, Forbs. That's a little word that we learned, and that's just kind of a woody flowering plant of some sort.
Mhm.
So that's what they are going to eat. But they are really sought after by
Yeah, they're
carnivorous animals.
they are prey for many
Uh-huh.
different animals.
Yeah, everything from coyotes, foxes, wildcats to, yeah, especially the flying, the carnivorous raptors,
Yeah.
hawks, eagles,
Just keep on
owls.
down and catch them a
Yeah.
jackrabbit.
But one thing about people hunting jackrabbits, they carry a lot of parasites,
Yeah.
fleas, ticks, lice, different things. And so they carry diseases because of those little critters that can get on people.
Ectoparasites.
Yes, so they, I guess an ectoparasite is probably one that's on the outside of the body.
Mhm. Like those bugs, like
Yeah,
the
like
flea
the
and
flea-
tick
uh-huh.
mite.
Anyway, if someone actually hunts a jackrabbit, usually it's just for sport or to like pest control. And it's recommended that you wear gloves to handle
When
them.
handling them, yeah.
Even though you can eat the flesh, they say you better make sure you cook it properly,
Mm.
which I don't know.
Okay.
I'm looking for a
You
little,
let us know if you've done
yeah,
it.
a little
'Cause
meatier animal
I'm not
there.
really gonna take that one.
These jackrabbits breed year round. The gestation period is about a month and a half.
Yeah,
I
not
know, yeah, about a month and a half.
41 to 47
Yeah.
days.
And so they have lots of litters of, or leverets. Is
Yeah.
that what they call it? A
Yes,
leveret?
and their litter is only about 4 per litter.
Yeah. So they have a lot. Oh, this says the captives jackrabbits are fully weaned by 8 weeks, but I guess they really probably don't know
Mm-mm.
on the wild
The
ones.
wild- No, the females are really no bigger than, the females are larger than the males, but there's really no other significant,
Yeah.
so size wise either.
Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic to me, that the female would be larger. Typically, it
Mhm.
seems like the male of the species is
Would be the
larger.
larger of the two.
Yeah, yeah. Now there are some animals that really like to eat these guys. This says that in Utah and Nevada, jackrabbits make up about 45% of the bobcat's diet.
That's
That's a lot.
Yeah, it
That's a
is.
lot. Red foxes, gray foxes, wolves, they all really, the bigger ones, the bigger carnivores, they really like to eat them. But I did think it was interesting that the rattlesnakes and garter snakes.
Yeah, they prey on these guys and the skunk and raccoon.
Yeah, but that's of course, that's only the babies.
Right.
And when you think about where the female has the babies, it's just on the ground. It's not like there's a safe place for them to hide. So in reality, the fact that they mature quickly and they can reproduce so frequently, it's
Probably an adaptation of theirs to survive.
To
keep
survive.
the species
right,
alive.
because they just don't survive. Okay, these guys are super duper fast.
Yes, they are.
They can hop, I almost said run, but they can hop about 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's getting it.
In one jump, they can go 10 feet. and they kind of zigzag back and forth.
To kind of keep the predators at bay.
Yeah, so I have a feeling it'd be quite an interesting thing to watch a chase that involved a jackrabbit trying to escape.
That jackrabbit would
something.
probably really just outrun whatever.
Oh,
it was.
yeah, for sure. Now, we have another slide that just kind of shows this. This is not a very clear map. I apologize for the quality of this, but this green area, this is where the black-tailed jackrabbit lives in the United States, and you can see Oklahoma's right there on it, but it goes all through this desert
The
area of the
western part.
US. And so sometimes I think they're called desert jackrabbits or something like that. But anyway, they cover a large portion of the United States. But Mary and I have talked about this before, that jackrabbits happen to be one of the animals that we're teaching about during this during this year for our education program. I've never seen a jackrabbit in the wild.
I haven't either.
And I mean, I don't know why, except they are nocturnal.
They're nocturnal animals, so maybe it is that they are around in here. We're just
And we
we're
just,
just in
we just
bed.
don't see them. Exactly. But that's, I think, one reason why they are not seen so often.
another survival tactic.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I thought it was funny too that they can swim.
oh
They
yeah.
dog paddle like all four.
Oh,
of their
my
feet,
goodness.
Like a dog.
Oh my goodness. Isn't that something? They dog paddle. I think that'd be awesome to see.
Now, I don't know how fast they can go in the water. I can't imagine they would go as fast as they could on
Although
land.
those-
But those little feet,
those-
those big old feet.
Big old legs back there. Yeah, they might really
Get you
propel
going.
them. They
Mhm.
might really propel them. One little tidbit that you guys probably are all dying to know, where is the world's largest jackrabbit? Because I was in Wyoming one time and wandered into a place that had what they claimed was the world's largest jackrabbit.
Mhm.
But the title actually goes to Rawls, Texas, where they have a 15-foot tall jackrabbit.
15 foot.
Yeah, 15 foot.
That is
I know
massive.
it wasn't the world's largest jackrabbit I saw. It was the world's largest jackalope.
Oh,
I don't know
Okay.
if you've ever seen one of those or not, but you should look it up, a jackalope. Yeah, true story, true story. So we're gonna move on and start and talk about cottontails next. So to show you a little bit of a difference, this
Aw,
is
look
a
at the
cute little cottontail. This is Peter, just kidding. I don't know this
We don't know the
rabbit's
name.
name. Yeah, but you can see that the same kind of coloration, which like we would teach the kids, this is one of their ways of protecting themselves, is the color of their fur.
Mhm.
It's camouflage. It helps them blend into their surroundings. Although the cottontail is actually a rabbit, it lives in a burrow underground.
Right, as opposed to the jackrabbit.
Right. And one thing I didn't mention about these is that if they live in an Arctic
In
area,
snowy regions.
their fur will change
It will be all
color
white.
in the winter.
Mhm.
So anyway, the cottontail is different from the rabbit. Just, I mean,
The ears aren't as big.
yeah, the bodies are more compact
rounded.
and rounded. And of course, they have that white
Little-
tail.
Little cotton.
Yeah.
ball like tail.
Yeah. They can reproduce year round. I mean, I think they're a little more prolific than the jackrabbit, actually, the cottontail. The female is fertile the day after she gives birth. They have maybe 5 litters a year.
Mhm.
They have like 4 to 8 kits, that's
In
what
a
they call
litter.
them, in a litter.
Mhm.
And the babies are fully mature, like enough to reproduce at 3 months of age.
That's fast.
That is so fast. I mean, that's like,
But there again,
Yeah.
a lot of them don't survive to adulthood. I
right,
mean, your typical adult.
Yeah, I mean, they said maybe 50%. I read that in some areas, it may be as little as 15% of a litter
Right.
will survive.
Says the average lifespan is just about 2 years.
Yeah, so these guys, I mean, they don't live very long.
They gotta live it when they got it.
Yeah, that's right.
They go hard or they don't go at all.
That is exactly right. I mean, and they're smaller than the jackrabbit. And look at the jackrabbit. It's not that big of an animal. Rabbits are smaller, and so all of the predators that would hunt a jackrabbit would also hunt a cottontail. But then also even some smaller animals, like even squirrels, if they see that a cottontail is sick or like unable to escape, injured, a squirrel will actually eat a rabbit, which I don't want to see that vision. I'm sorry that I can't put that back in my mouth.
That in everyone's heads.
I am so
You're
sorry.
asking to now not visualize. Thank you.
Okay, so but now we know squirrels are rodents, right? The similarity between a rabbit and a rodent, they are not rodents, is that their teeth never stop growing.
Yeah, they don't.
And
like rodents. Because rodents' teeth don't stop.
Yeah, and so they have to eat things that will help them keep their
teeth sawed down.
Yes. Now they don't have to eat things like a beaver, has to eat wood.
Right.
They don't have to eat things that hard, but the things that they do eat help them keep their teeth
at bay.
Yeah. I thought their eating habits, I thought were very cute.
It is cute.
For a cottontail. So they don't use their little front paws to hold their food or to position their food. They use their nose.
And they're on all fours the whole time.
And they will actually move the food to the cleanest part of the food, the least amount of dirt.
Like if it's a carrot or whatever, they'll roll it around till they see the cleanest area of that carrot.
And that's where they will start eating. I just thought that was such a cute little characteristic of
they're particular on where they like to start eating.
Now they can stand up on their back legs, and like if they wanted to eat something taller than them, and they might use their front paws then. I'm thinking kind of like a cat or a dog would, to pull it down. But that's all. So but they're also herbivores, just like the jackrabbit is there, and they're going to eat basically the same kinds of things. But they, like I said before, they live in burrows in the ground because their ears are not as big as jackrabbits, and because they have this blind spot between their eyes. They rely on their hearing to help them sense predators, for protection. So if it's a very windy,
I thought that was interesting.
I did too. A very windy day, they will not venture out of their burrow.
So they don't feel safe.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that here in Oklahoma,
they probably don't come out.
They don't get out much
this week.
Yeah,
because, man,
for sure.
Man.
Now, when I was a kid, if my dad happened to be on the tractor working a field, plowing it up or something. If he came across a cottontail rabbit, because sometimes, even though the jackrabbits are the ones that what we studied said that they have their young on the ground, cottontails will also have their young on the ground, just in a little front form kind of thing. He would. Like a baby cottontail he would see one trying to get away from the tractor. And I don't know how many times he would jump off that tractor and catch that cottontail and bring it in the house for us. Now, at the time, no one was thinking about the nasty mites and whatever else was on it. We put it in a giant box, like a refrigerator box or
oven box.
Yeah, and it would scratch all night. We couldn't sleep. It'd scratch at the box. I don't know what.
Oh, yeah.
We turned it loose the next day, y'all. We never kept it.
Didn't stay long.
Yeah, but my dad would catch these little cottontails for us when we were kids. But I just kind of think that's interesting, that the rabbits, don't have their young in a very protected place.
You would think as fast as they
Reproduce.
yeah, they would.
Uh-huh.
They would have some kind of way or adapt to some kind of way of protecting them, I
but
think.
they don't. So that little space up there where the brain is, I don't know.
Maybe it's a blind spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. But there are actually species of rabbits all around the whole world except Antarctica. So
Little too cold.
rabbits are everywhere. And I have seen rabbits. You guys, maybe some of you have them in your yard. We have a rabbit that lives in our yard, a cottontail that lives in our yard we live in town. They're always in town, but
the bushes.
yeah, but these guys are not
not
now.
so much.
And they are crepuscular, and we've used that term
Mhm.
before. So that
Kind of
means
a different activity time of day.
time of day, yeah, like at dusk or dawn,
When the sun's going up or down.
like deer.
Right.
When you always see them out on the road. But some fun little facts about cottontails. These guys would lose to the hare, the tortoise and the hare. Remember that story? Well, the cottontail can only go about half as fast, maybe 15 or 20 miles an hour, but they also do that zigzag thing.
pattern.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. They have the almost 360 vision.
That
Again,
little blind
yeah,
spot there in the
That
front.
blind spot. They're twitchy.
Their noses.
Their little noses twitch, unlike the jackrabbit, whose ears are
A
also
million scent receptors in their nose.
a million. How many do people?
I'm sorry,
have?
100 million.
How many do people have?
I don't know. I don't think we have that many, do we?
That's a lot. No, we do not. Oh my goodness, 100 million.
And that's not much they can't smell.
Yeah, we talked about their teeth. They can produce a litter of up to 8 kits every 30 days.
Infertile again after 24 hours.
That's wow.
That is a lot.
Yeah, the reason they have so many offspring is because most are lucky to live for 1 year. So as sad as it is that jackrabbits only live a couple of years, these guys only
Yeah.
make it like 1
Yeah,
year.
jackrabbits live double what they
Yeah. And they eat here we go. They have they really like vegetation.
do.
And the comparison that it gave is how people kind of don't care for vegetation so much. Well, they have 17,000 taste buds, where we only have 2,000 to 8,000
So over double.
taste buds. Yeah, so they're getting the full flavor of the food.
The full.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to be able to appreciate, half flavor, and now
Poor Edie,
I
she's been unable to smell or taste.
I got the COVID kill on my taste buds. It's not fun.
No.
It's not fun. So I can eat anything, and
So right now she's eating very healthy, ladies and gentlemen, because might as well, right?
As well. Nothing tastes, yeah. Anyway, and but these are the rabbits to me that people are going to see more often.
When you think rabbit,
Mhm.
you think that.
And when someone hunts for sport, if you were to kill a cottontail, you might be more likely to eat it than
There's
you
more
would the
meat
jackrabbit.
to that rather than. the
Yeah, they
jackrabbit.
have a little meatier body, and they don't have the nasty parasite diseases and stuff that the jackrabbit has. So,
Right.
In case you got a hankering.
For rabbit stew. I've
Yeah.
heard people eat rabbit stew.
Yeah. What was the Bugs Bunny cartoon? Where's my hoss and pepper? Yeah, I think that was always kind of a rabbit stew of some sort. So now, let's show you the map of where the cottontails. So see,
So it's almost the opposite
It
of
is.
the jackrabbit.
If you remember, the jackrabbit came right up here over Oklahoma and over that way, and the cottontail is more the eastern, but we're right here.
Overlapping there.
Where both types of animals are going to be here.
Mhm.
And you can see it goes way down here into Mexico, Central America.
Yeah.
So the cottontail and the jackrabbit are common animals to be seen here. But now let's talk about the domesticated or pet rabbits. So first of all, let's go to the first slide. Okay, so I thought this was this is a medieval depiction of some women trying to catch rabbits. So rabbits have been, now this is a ferret. This woman is putting a ferret in the rabbit, in the burrow to scare out the rabbit into the cage the other woman has.
Well, that's just not quite fair.
It's what I think too. And says it's from 1340. So 12th century people, or is that 14?
I think that's 14.
Okay, I always get that wrong. I just can't. Okay, so 14th
I could be
century.
wrong,
You know, I think, what century are we in now?
21st.
Okay, yeah, so it's 20. So yeah, that'd be the 14th century.
See how we do that there.
I need help, y'all. So a long time ago, many centuries ago,
A long time ago.
Yeah. Their rabbits were hunted for food a lot, and people built cages. They began keeping them as pets, but not primarily for pet. I think they kept them and raised them for food, so it was more of a livestock kind of thing. And so they caught wild rabbits and began raising them or domesticating them.
Right.
And so as a result of that, some things began to happen. Now, here's a word for you. Much later on, okay, there's evidence in the Middle Ages that they kept rabbits for hunting, beagles and things like, you know how they would use dogs
to help in hunting process.
Yeah, and they would release the rabbits and then let the dogs go find them, and then the hunters would come along and hunt them. And so they would keep these rabbits and kind of raise them so they would always have some for a hunt, just for sport. I suppose they probably ate some. They may have skinned them. They probably used their furs.
Were probably used.
And so that was going on, the 12th century and then even into the 1500s. But in the 19th century, which would have been the 1800s, right? Okay. Animal fancy in general began to emerge. So an animal fancier is someone who raises animals for show, which people show rabbits,
right?
Or for like
Exhibition type things.
Yeah, things like that. And so all of that began to happen in Western Europe and the United States. And people began to actually keep rabbits as pets as early as the Victorian era. So those things all kind of started happening. And so the next, we're kind of looking at little DNA kind of thing here. We have a domestic rabbit, we have a cottontail, and we have I was thinking that was going to be their brain.
Those look like jellyfish.
But I'm not sure what those things are. But I use this slide because there's a scientific kind of evolution process that happened when these rabbits became domesticated, which I found to be very interesting. So let's see, it's not on this page, it's on this page. So they began studying, why is it that if you try to approach a little cottontail or a jackrabbit and it goes, but if you were to try to approach a domesticated rabbit, it would be less likely to run from you.
That was the experiment that they were trying to find out.
Right. They were trying to find out the reason for that. And so there were researchers Texas A&M actually took part in
The
this.
University of Zurich.
And they
Switzerland.
believe that domesticating the animals changed their physical
Like
features
their fight and flight type
Mhm.
response.
and their brains actually changed shape.
Like the white, I think the white matter, wasn't it? Is that what they?
Yes, I think that's right. The white matter, there was not as much white matter in their brains.
Mhm.
Okay, the fear and anxiety portion of the brain is 10% smaller in domesticated rabbits. And the medial prefrontal cortex, which controls aggressive behavior and fear, is 11% larger. Oh, the control of aggression and fear
Right.
is larger. So it's like they have a smaller part of the brain that's going to ignite a flight response, and a larger part that's going to help them control any of those responses
Right.
that come.
Right.
And so I just find that to be so interesting, because they didn't need those parts of the brain to be, that part of the
Active.
brain to be so big.
Mhm.
It dissipated in size.
Mhm.
Um,
White matter, the signal transferring fibers, the axons,
mhm.
influence the brain's information processing. So when a wild rabbit's in danger, more white matter is needed for faster reflexes.
Yeah, so I just think that is a super interesting thing. Behaviors related to fear and aggression are needed or for survival, but the domesticated rabbit does not face the same pressures. And so it evolved and adapted to where food and shelter are provided.
Mhm.
And so they live longer, healthier lives, and they're not just innately fearful
In
of
fear all the
humans.
time.
Yeah, I kind of get nerdy about stuff like that, but I
The
thought
way
that
things
was,
just happen. and-
yeah. Now, you guys, we know the dark
Mhm.
side of the animal raising animals and how they use rabbits in a lot of experimentation.
Mhm.
But I mean, the laboratories study antibodies for vaccines,
The bronchial asthma,
stroke
cystic
prevention,
fibrosis,
Yeah.
diabetes, cancer.
yeah, all sorts of diseases that really are,
Affecting the human population.
yes, they can.
Which doesn't make it right or wrong necessarily.
Right, not to offend
No,
anyone who
no,
is
not at all.
an animal rights activist. I'm not saying
No.
that, but I am saying that there are positive results from the use of the experimentation on the rabbits. Now, for, makeup or cleaners or things like
No.
that, no.
We don't need all those things to
Yeah.
survive.
And I never
And they
really
do reproduce very
Yeah.
fast.
I never understood that whole thing about years ago where you would go to find out if you were pregnant and they would say the rabbit died. Do you remember that? I don't really know. I don't know what that means, but I know that it had something to do with the scientific test they would run, and the result would be that if a woman was actually pregnant, that the rabbit would die.
Huh.
So you didn't find out nearly as quickly as you do today if you're pregnant
as
or not.
early,
Or
whatever.
yeah, probably not as early. But anyway, the use of the rabbit in those studies has really produced some
Very
positive
beneficial.
outcomes. But as far as having a rabbit as a pet, here we see someone
Leash
has
and all.
a leash, a little harness and a leash on their rabbit. And I mean, rabbits can really be trained to
Yeah,
use
I've
a litter
seen-
box,
Yes.
just
yes.
like a cat does. This little guy, I mean, here's your little Easter bunny, right?
Those albino rabbits or
Mhm.
is that what
Yeah,
they're called?
that's what they're called. They pink eyes and everything. I had one of those. I got one in high school as an Easter gift.
Did you dye it?
No, I didn't. She lived, I mean, by the time she died, she was like huge.
big
She
old
was
thing.
way bigger than this jackrabbit was. And anyway, but I say that I got her for Easter. Every year, probably hundreds of thousands of children receive a bunny or a chick as an Easter gift, and then they don't know what to do with them afterwards because they don't have the proper
knowledge to take care of them.
yeah, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the right kind of housing, they don't, you know, all of those things. And so
Education to take care of them.
all of those, a majority of those rabbits are given to like a humane society or turned over to someplace like that. And because of what we learned about the differences between a domesticated rabbit and a wild rabbit, their brain, if you turn one of these domestic rabbits loose in the wild, they are going to die.
It's a death sentence.
It is, because they don't have the same responses in their brain to that a wild
develop or just to even react
right
to nature.
And so you're basically setting them up for, you know, they're going to die. So think before you
buy.
Yeah, one of those kind of gifts for Easter. A stuffed one will go a long way.
For years, and you don't have the heartache of, well, Bunny went to go live on a farm up north.
That's right. Yeah.
Conversation, you know.
Yeah, you don't have to tell that story to your kids. But I mean, domestic rabbits make great pets. They are, if you want to show your kids some really cool rabbits in August at the Stevens County Fair, they always have a large group of show rabbits there with a lot of different breeds represented. Yes, and they are very cool to go look at. The ones with the giant ears, the little bitty tiny ones. They have some that are, their little ears are about that long. I don't know any of the breed names. Lock-eared or something is something that I've
probably
heard.
Toy or mini something.
Right. Now, one other thing about taking one of these a rabbit in as a pet, you cannot declaw them.
Oh yes, we've learned this, which
I know.
I laughed, but it's something that we need to know.
See. They like cats and dogs have large pads on their feet, and those pads kind of give them
grippers.
Yes, and help steady them when they walk. If you declaw a rabbit, they cannot walk because their claws help them balance. So even though you can train them to do some things like a cat,
if you took their claws, they couldn't stand.
Right. And so don't think, well, we'll just declaw the rabbit.
Hopefully the vet would know.
Right. And not do that.
They wouldn't do it.
That
hopefully. So if not, though, we're telling you now, don't declaw your rabbit.
Right. But anyway, we've covered a lot of information today about all of these. They're probably all from the same family, kingdom, phylum, class, order family of animals. But there's just a lot of differences. There are similarities.
There's similarities, right? But a lot of differences.
A lot of differences, amongst all these guys. And so, anyway, good information about rabbits. You guys will want to tune in tomorrow for Trail Talk. Joan Brock from One True Light is going to be here, and One True Light is a great nonprofit organization here in Duncan, and you don't want to miss all of the great things she's going to tell you about. I get to be a part. I'm actually a part of it. I am a part of the organization. I serve as a mentor, and I just love it. I'm not going to get carried away talking about it. I'll save that for tomorrow.
She's got to save something for tomorrow.
Yeah, but you guys tune in because we're going to have some really good information for you about that. And kind of mark your calendars. Wednesday, May the 5th, it's coming up fast. Our 100th episode of Trail Talk.
Can't believe it.
I cannot believe it either.
Where are the pew pew?
Right, we need some fireworks going off. I cannot believe it's almost 100 episodes. So anyway, tune in tomorrow, and until then, happy trails. Bye-bye.